Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And today I have the 7th or 8th in the series, I can't remember, of my videos on masculine cards. And this one is a little different in that it talks about sort of a pattern or a strategy for making men's cards or masculine cards, and I have several examples to show you, and we'll make one together. So let's just get started. Okay, I have some samples to show you first. Here is a sample of a card. Here is another sample of a card, and I made them all happy birthday and just did minimal decorating, if any, on the insides. But what I want to talk about this time is something that you can repeat on any kind of card that you make, whether it's for men or for women, and to give you an idea of a strategy to think about when making a card. For instance, this card here. If we have a background that is this, and I just ran that through an embossing folder, that paint texture one. This is 2 1/4 inches wide by 4 1/4 long, so it fits right over the front of the card. And this little piece is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Now, in the designer series packages for the color families, there is a package of 6x6 paper with these patterns on them. So there's a stripe, this sort of floral, mostly leaves, this pattern, and this pattern. And so you have 4 choices of patterns that are perfectly matched for color. And so any combination of this with navy would make a beautiful card. And since Stampin' Up! Has already done the work of putting the patterns together so that they match perfectly, this monochromatic scheme will work. So here's an example where I took this, which is Pebble Path, I believe, and I love this color, I've decided, especially with ivory or very vanilla. It's just beautiful together with that combination. And so I've taken, in this case, crumb cake and a couple of these patterns on the inside and the outside to make a card that is more masculine in nature. This one is definitely more masculine in nature, and this only requires 1, 2, 3 pieces of paper and a couple of small strips. And with the use of an embossing folder, you can get something that's both very pretty and simple to make. This one uses this combination of patterns, and I think in this one I end up using all of the patterns. I'm not positive. But I made a piece that is on this Pebble Path, and then it's all combinations of crumb cake. And the pattern kind of works. This says celebrate, and then on the inside it says happy birthday. And I made this long panel here, and I cut the 2 ends off, and that's what I put on the inside. Again, very simple. This one is crumb cake with some more of those patterns. This one is Blackberry Bliss with some of those patterns. And this is just a die that I happen to have in my stash. It's not a Stampin' Up! Die, but it had these wonderful big swirls. And I thought that would be pretty on here with just a simple happy birthday and celebrate. And so they're very simple cards to make. And so I thought I would just show you using this set of patterns with a Night of Navy background. And I just cut this, and I'm going to score that. and burnish that score line, maybe. And put this card together. Now, if we follow this pattern and do this, I'm going to go off screen for a second, and I'm going to put an embossing folder, this old painted texture folder, on the front of this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This particular card is so simple to make, you could crank out several of them in just a few minutes. So if we take, like we did here, and use this piece of paper, we are going to cut this piece 2 1/4 inches, 2 1/4 inches, and cut it straight across, and then we need 4 1/4 to fit across the front of our card. So there we have 4 1/4. Now you can save this piece to do something with later, and then we are going to use this little piece of paper here, and we're going to cut a 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 square. By 2 1/4 square. And these neutral colors, I find that most guys really sort of like. They like the idea, they like simplicity, they like a lot of things. And then we need a piece of white, and this is layering white for the inside. So now that we've got those pieces cut, let's just go ahead and attach the pieces that we've got so far. Okay, so I'm going to add some snail along the back here, and I'm actually going to put on quite a bit because this is a pretty heavily textured front of a card, but right across here, a little up from center. And then this piece on dimensionals, which we're going to turn to this diamond shape, and I'm just going to add a couple of dimensionals on the back of this piece. And I'm just going to eyeball that to be in the center of that. And there we go. That is mostly done. Then we need a small piece of white. This is 5 by 3 3/4, which I'm just going to center on the inside here by putting a bead of adhesive on here and centering that on this piece. And then I'm going to choose one of these other patterns, and maybe I'll use this piece, and I'm going to cut a 3/8 of an inch piece and make it 5 inches long, and we're just going to put this strip on the inside of this piece right in there. So I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of this piece and pop that into place right here. And while it's very simple and very plain, my experience with most guys is that's what they prefer. Now, I may have to trim that little piece off there, but there, for all intents and purposes, is our card. Now, I've got another piece of white here, and I've got my Night of Navy ink here, and I've got a stamp from a kit that I bought that said, let yourself dream big, and I thought you could turn this into a graduation card. So, let yourself dream big, and I'm going to pop that right down here in this corner. And And I'm just going to trim that up so that it'll fit across our little area here. So I'm going to cut that up there and come across this fairly close to the lettering there. And I don't think this was exactly stamped square. So I'm going to cut that down like that, trim a little bit off of this edge, and let that piece go right in there. And I think since this is already popped up, I'm not going to pop this one up. I'm just going to add some adhesive, and I'm going to put that in place right across here. Well, centered would be good. Something like that. And then I'm going to go to my little package of these. We'd be better off, I think, with silver on this. Maybe I'll see if I have some silver. I've got a package of these older ones that have kind of silver shapes in them. So I'm going to take those out of here, and to me these little dashes look like they would work. So I'm going to pick a couple up, and in this case I'm going to set them so that they match my diamond square. Use whatever you have in your stash that makes some sense. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe move that one up just a hair. There we go. All right, so there we have that one with a sentiment, and you just turned this in. Now if you had a happy graduation stamp, you might be able to put that on the inside. And there you have just a simple card that takes a few seconds to make and would work for a masculine birthday card. Thank you, love you, thank you, my friend, any number of things. I'm going to bring these back in so you can see the various ones that I have done. And one package of that paper and a little bit of imagination in this color block kind of style, you can see where you can make all different kinds of cards. And I made mine top folding and side folding, and just one that's regular A2. And there you have a whole series of cards, and you can do that with any color combination, and then a complementary cardstock piece. And on this one, instead of, you could make this more feminine by using a flower here, but it's more masculine if you use a little bird. And you probably, like me, have all kinds of that stuff in your stash. And so that's it for me. 8th in a series, and this is color block, so this can be applied to lots of different cards and lots of different combinations. Now I wanted to also talk about, I haven't been posting much on my blog in the way of material, but we have been adding tons of retired stamps and dies and paper and unopened paper pumpkins and all different kinds of things. And there is a ton of stuff. I bet you we've put, since the last time I talked to you about this, over 250 to 300 entries. And so I'd encourage you to go to my blog under Shop With Me and look at retired items. And there's some items from other manufacturers as well. So if you get a chance, go on and look, and there's lots and lots and lots of bargains. I never do the premium prices on those. If you look for some of those on eBay, you can pay 40, 50, 60 bucks for a stamp set. And I always do mine for less than they cost originally. So go in and take a look if you get a chance. Anyway, that's it for me. I will be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye.